Rabbit on the Moon, Part 1. A young rabbit hopped on top of the world. Her fluffy feet brush the tops of mountains, and her ears drag along the fields. Her eyes shine as brightly as the sun. Her name was Luna. Luna was once a small little creature. She could fit in your palm at her beginning. No one really knows what her beginnings are. All they know is she brings joy to all who see her. Her earliest known family met her in a field ringed with trees. She was hopping along all alone. Her long ears and small body would have made her a target for owls and other predators. But a little girl found her hopping along in the field. She took Luna to her mother, who was sitting near the edge. They came to the field only to play, as they lived within a 10-minute drive, and the little girl was very energetic and her mother clearly was not. Her mother allowed her to keep Luna, as it would teach her daughter how to take care of a pet. She didn't expect the rabbit to survive more than a couple months. 4 months later, and Luna had not grown at all, and the little girl was ecstatic. Her mother was too busy with work to notice anything out of the ordinary, but the little girl recognized the magic in the rabbit. Every night she would take it out of the cage and play with it around the house. Luna would hop all over the furniture, the television, and even hop off the walls. The little girl loved the rabbit. But one day the little girl stopped caring about the rabbit. She grew too old. She had her own friends and didn't think the funny little rabbit was any fun anymore. Her first day out of her cage in 2 months, and Luna leapt out the window. The girl cried for a time, but her mother bought her ice cream and the rabbit was all but forgotten. Another time, Luna was found in a discarded plastic bottle. The middle-aged woman who found her was baffled how she even managed to fit. Taking pity on the creature, the woman took the bottle home with her to her small one-bedroom apartment and used a kitchen knife to open the bottle. Luna was a very well-behaved rabbit and ate the lettuce the woman fed her. They were friends for years before the woman gave Luna to a friend of hers, but Luna left that friend by the end of the day to continue her adventures. Part 2. Another time Luna found a friend was an older gentleman she met at a park somewhere in the Midwest. He was busy reading on his phone and almost didn't see the rabbit, who was now the size of a small child. He remarked to her, believing her to be a rabbit with a timepiece to take him to another world. He grabbed Luna in a bear hug and brought her home to his family. His 3 children were excited to meet the giant rabbit. They played with her every day, and the youngest would keep her in his room. The man who caught her always made sure she was fed before he went to work, and even spent time building a little home for her to replace the old cage. The children would invite their friends over and would coincidentally bring the rabbit up in conversation, until their friends asked about it. Many laughs were bellowed when Luna would show up and would promptly knock over everything. The kid's mother didn't particularly like the rabbit, but she loved her kids and watching them happy was worth it. Many years later, Luna was picked up by another young girl. The girl hadn't heard her approach, but when Luna hopped up and placed her head on the girl's lap, the girl was excited. At first she couldn't tell what the thing was that was in her lap, but after her mother described what Luna was, she was happy. Getting to pet such a soft animal was very grounding. The little girl had to use one of her hands to hold her cane, and Luna was far too big to be held in a single hand. Her mother picked up the rabbit and the 3 of them went home. On the car ride home, the little girl buried her face in the rabbit belly and fell in love. Luna smelled of fresh-cut grass and strawberries. Her mother was happy to see her daughter so happy. The little girl's mother would take care of Luna for the girl. When she was old enough, the now teenage girl would try to remember to turn on the lights for the rabbit. She didn't always remember, but Luna didn't seem to mind. She ate her carrots and lettuce with the girl listening to the soothing noise. Luna eventually escaped one night when the girl had forgotten to close the cage. Her friends were over for the night, and while they were watching television, Luna hopped out of her cage and disappeared. The girl's father tried everything he could to find the rabbit, but she was gone. Part 3. Luna was lying in a crater on the moon. She dreamed of the friends she had met as she had grown and felt saddened. The moon was a great place to stay, but it could be very lonely. She dreamt of the last time she'd spent on Earth. She had befriended a little boy. He was alone at the park, making all kinds of noise. The other little kids had stayed away from him because he didn't seem to know how to interact with them. Luna fell in love with him. The little boy didn't know how to react to seeing a rabbit in the mountains, especially not one as big as Luna. She was at least the size of a refrigerator. He grabbed one of her ears and gripped hard. He didn't yet realize how strong he was, but Luna didn't mind. It was nice to have another friend. Luna knew his family wouldn't be able to afford to feed her, so Luna stayed in the woods near the park. The little boy would visit every weekend when his parents would take him there to take out his aggression. Luna would only show herself when the little boy was around. He tried to show the other kids the big rabbit, but none of them believed him. It wouldn't be the first time he lied to get attention. Luna stayed with him as long as she could, but eventually he had to go home. Luna would stay in the woods, hiding from mountain lions and bears and other big animals. just to see her friend. After a year, though, she had to leave. She had spent too much time on Earth this time, and was ready to go back to the moon. She allowed her friend to hug her one last time, and he watched as Luna hopped into the sky and kept going. And on it went for a long time. Luna would spend some time on Earth, make a friend or two, then hop back to the moon. She would watch as the Earth rotated and would watch as the line would revolve around the Earth. But now she was too old to continue going down to Earth. If a human saw her, they would compare her to a bear. Luna didn't want to frighten the humans and decided it was time to stop meeting them in person. However, every night after the sunset, Luna would hop down to the Earth to visit as many humans at a time. While they might not see her, Luna watched over all of them. One day she would take the place of the moon and would pass the tradition down to her kid. But not yet. No, not yet.